Welcome to Story World. Please comment where you're watching from and subscribe to this channel as well. Dive into this story. Long ago, in the heart of the great African forest, there lived an elephant named Tembo who was known far and wide as the strongest animal in all the land. His trunk could uproot the mightiest trees, and his tusks gleamed like ivory spears in the sunlight. Tembo was proud of his strength, and he never missed an opportunity to remind the other animals of his power. One day, as Tembo stood by the riverbank boasting about his latest feat, moving a fallen baobab tree that had blocked the path to the watering hole, a small voice spoke up from near his feet. "Strength is not always about size, mighty Tembo," said Ijapa the tortoise, his wrinkled head poking out from his sturdy shell. The elephant looked down and laughed, a sound like distant thunder. "And what would you know about strength, little one? You move so slowly that the grass grows back before you've crossed a path." The other animals gathered around, zebras, antelopes, monkeys, and birds, all curious to see what the tortoise would say next. Ijapa withdrew into his shell for a moment, thinking carefully. Then he emerged and spoke clearly. "I may be small, Tembo, but I challenge you to a contest of strength. If I win, you must admit that strength comes in many forms. If you win, I will serve you for a whole season." The elephant threw back his great head and trumpeted with laughter. "A contest? Between you and me? Very well, little tortoise. I accept, if only to teach you a lesson about knowing your place." The animals murmured among themselves. Some felt sorry for Ijapa, thinking he had lost his mind. Others knew that the tortoise was the cleverest creature in the forest, and they wondered what trick he had up his shell. "Here are the rules," said Ijapa. "Tomorrow at dawn, you will go to the eastern edge of the forest, and I will go to the western edge. We will each hold one end of a vine rope. When the sun rises fully above the trees, we will pull. Whoever pulls the other across the forest wins." Tembo agreed immediately, confident of his certain victory. That evening, Ijapa made his way through the forest to the great river where Koboko, the hippopotamus, spent his days. Koboko was nearly as strong as the elephant, though he preferred to stay in the water and mind his own business. "Friend Koboko," said Ijapa, "I need your help with something important tomorrow at dawn." "What is it, wise one?" asked the hippopotamus, intrigued. "The elephant has been bullying the smaller animals, and someone needs to teach him humility. Tomorrow morning, you'll find a vine rope at the water's edge on the western side. When you feel it pull, I need you to pull back with all your might. Pull until you can pull no more." Koboko, who had himself grown tired of Tembo's boasting, agreed readily. Then Ijapa traveled to the eastern edge of the forest where Tembo lived. He found the elephant already practicing, pulling against trees to warm up his muscles. "I've brought the rope," said Ijapa, showing Tembo one end of a long, strong vine. "Hold this end firmly. When you see the sun fully risen, begin to pull. I'll be on the other end at the western edge." Tembo took the vine in his trunk, amused by its thickness. "This rope is strong, little tortoise, but not strong enough to save you from being dragged across the entire forest." Ijapa then took the other end of the vine and carried it through the forest, through secret paths and under low branches, until he reached the riverbank on the western side. He placed that end where Koboko would find it, then climbed onto a high rock halfway between the two contestants where he could watch both ends of the forest. As dawn broke and the sun began to rise, Ijapa called out in his loudest voice, "Let the contest begin." On the eastern edge, Tembo wrapped the vine around his trunk and began to pull. To his surprise, there was immediate resistance, strong resistance. "The tortoise is stronger than I thought," he grunted, digging his feet into the earth and pulling harder. On the western edge, Kiboko felt the vine tug and began to pull with all the strength of his massive body, his feet finding purchase in the muddy riverbank. "The elephant is pulling hard," he thought, "but I will not give up." Back and forth the vine moved, first a little east, then a little west. The earth shook with the effort of both great beasts. Trees trembled, birds flew away in alarm, and the other animals came running to see what was causing such a commotion. Hours passed. The sun climbed higher in the sky. Both Tembo and Kiboko pulled until their muscles ached and sweat poured from their bodies. Neither could gain ground against the other. Finally, as the sun reached its peak, both animals collapsed in exhaustion, releasing the vine rope. Ijapa emerged from his watching place and walked slowly to the eastern edge where Tembo lay panting on the ground. "Well, mighty Tembo," said the tortoise, "it seems I am stronger than you thought. You could not pull me even an inch across the forest." The elephant was too exhausted to speak, too amazed to argue. Then Ijapa made his way to the western edge where Kiboko lay in the shallow water, cooling his tired body. "Thank you, friend," said Ijapa. "You have helped teach an important lesson today." Kiboko smiled, understanding now what the clever tortoise had done. Later, when all the animals gathered at the watering hole, the word spread about the amazing contest. Tembo, humbled by the experience, stood before them all. "Today I learned," the elephant said, "that strength alone does not make one great. The tortoise, though small, proved himself my equal. I was wrong to judge others only by their size." Ijapa climbed onto a rock so all could see him. "I did not win through strength of body, mighty Tembo, but through strength of mind. And I had help from a friend. True strength, I have learned, comes not from standing alone, but from wisdom, humility, and the help of others." From that day forward, Tembo was kinder to all the animals of the forest, large and small. And Ijapa the tortoise was celebrated not just for his cleverness, but for teaching everyone, including the mightiest among them, that there are many kinds of strength in this world. And so the animals lived together in greater harmony, remembering always the day when the smallest among them taught the greatest a lesson that would last forever. This tale is told in many African cultures, passed down through generations to teach that wisdom and cleverness can overcome brute strength, and that pride often comes before a lesson in humility. Please comment what you learned from this story and subscribe to this channel if you want to see us again.